I'm a firm believer of using AI in your life because it's made my life so much easier because I'm able to do my job more efficiently. Welcome to this week's episode of Beauty Babble. Today we're talking about AI tools you can use when you're creating content for social media, your website, or any of your marketing. Hi, Suzanne. How are you today?
I am doing very well. I am so excited for this conversation because AI, artificial intelligence, it's like, oh my God, it's everywhere. Like when you said you're working with it in your marketing and social media aspect of things, and I was just like, I went like, what? Okay, how does that work? And then we stopped and said, no, we're just going to talk about it and we'll present this to you guys because we know how much we're using social media in this industry and how it can make your life so much better. But I mean, it's huge. It's everywhere. And if you have never done it, there's apps. It's the coolest thing.
I think that because it's everywhere, you have to be aware that everyone is probably using it in some capacity. But you also want your content to be you. So the way I use it is just to make certain things easier for me. So, for example, let's take the most popular, I think, ChatGPT. So when I use ChatGPT, it's not to create the content for me, but what I would use if I'm doing like a longer form written content, I would put it in ChatGPT and I'd ask it to check for grammar. That way, I'm just getting it to do my grammar for me, grammar and spelling. And then it will correct that. So I'm not having to go back in and copy edit the content I've created because it's already my voice and whatever. But sometimes
Right.
you're stuck and you're like, I want to talk about this, but I don't know how to say it. Put it in the AI tool. It'll give you an idea and then you pull it out and then you can reword it to be more authentically you. So I'm a firm believer of using AI in your life because it's made my life so much easier because I'm able to do my job more efficiently. And I know we talked about
Right.
this in the episode about social media where we know you're busy doing clients and you don't want to be spending all this time on social media. So if you already have an idea of the content you want to create because you've done your strategy, then there's a few ways that you can use AI to help you create that content faster. So I mentioned Chat GPT. That can be a great way if you need to brainstorm ideas or, like I said, to help you maybe refine something that you've already written. There's another tool that I use, and it's called SocialBee, and it's completely free. And what I really like about this one,
Is it the letter B? Because I'm sure people are writing this down. Social
yeah,
B?
no, it's BEE.
Oh, it is like,
Yeah, like a little bee. Their logo is a little bee. So
okay,
what
cool.
I really like about this one is that it actually has prompts for you. So if you don't know how to ask AI a question, it does the prompting for you. So if you click, you can have there's prompt templates. So there's one for Facebook, there's one for Instagram, Twitter, so on. So if, let's say Instagram, you can ask it to write a witty caption about, and then you would put your topic. And then you can give it, you'd select the tone of voice you want to use. You'd select how many words, if you care, you can do that. You can ask it to include hashtags and emojis, and you can ask it for the number of posts you want it to generate. I think it only goes up to 10 per prompt, but there you go. Like if you're doing something about like, skincare tips in the winter, it'll give you a bunch of captions for your post.
Oh, cool. That's so,
So
it's like you said, time is everything. I mean, we all wish for a 25-hour day, but if we can manage our time, that's a big one. That time management, I've been hearing this more and more. It was back actually years ago and it's come back again. People are actually taking courses on time management, trying to fit in their day of their whole thing, right? You want to be involved in your kids' lives. You want to own your own business. You want to do your own, you are your own person, like you said, your own social media. You're providing services by yourself. You're doing everything, right? So time management is so crucial. Instead of having to get up at 3 a.m. to do it, like maybe there's a way to help you once you. I'm sure there's a little bit of a trial and error to get you going with it, but don't give up. Would you say? And just you'll find your niche as you learn through this. Yeah.
absolutely. I think the thing with AI too is to remember your prompt is your most important thing. So you want to be as specific as possible. So if I want to ask AI to create a post for me about, skincare tips for the winter, I would be more specific, skincare tips to target dehydration in the winter if you live in a cold environment and use a witty tone or use a friendly tone.
Oh, wow.
So that
Okay.
gives it as much information as possible instead of just saying, give me some tips about skincare for the winter. It's not the same. So the more you can be specific with your ask, the more you are going to get the results you want. And sometimes I fear that I'm going to end up having like pretending AI is my friend, because sometimes I'll be like, no, I didn't mean that. Please do this instead. And then it'll respond to me. It's yes.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. I can
Um,
see what's happening though, but that's so good to know that, like, because now that brings out almost your personality in a sense, right? Because, and how do you define it instead of just point form? Like, I would have probably done how tips to help skin in the winter, not thinking
exactly. Yeah.
of that whole other side of it. To give it as much information as you can so that it'll filter out what you're trying to say,
Yeah, there's
basically.
actually like whole people that build their careers on providing prompts for AI. So the prompting is really, really important. So keep that in mind when you're creating your content. So kind of to get back to it is, if you're doing just social media content, you can use ChatGPT, you can use SocialBee, so social and BEE. There's also those two are free, which I love, free. And sometimes I've used both of them at the same time to see how they give me different answers and see which one I like. And sometimes I've taken like,
Hmm.
one thing from here and one thing from there because I don't want it to sound like it's AI.
Yes, yeah.
There's
It's
other
it's
there's other ones
assisting,
too.
right? Yes,
Hmm?
it's assisting you to figure out how to get your wording out there, right? So if you, it's no different than talking to people and getting their ideas, and then you make it your own. This is just talking to the artificial intelligence side of things to
Yeah,
make it your own, which makes sense,
totally. And that
actually.
saves you time because that's going to be the ultimate goal, right? Like you've got the knowledge. Sometimes it just takes a lot of time to the brainstorming, the rewriting, all of that takes a lot of time. So it can save you time, and you have to figure out what is it that you want it to save time for. So maybe you're really great at coming up with ideas, but you're not really great at writing the captions. Perfect. Maybe you're great at writing the captions, but you don't have the ideas. So you can use it in whatever way
Sure.
to make
Yeah.
your life easier. But I think it's good to note that these are just two examples of tools like AI with social. There's so many out there. You just gotta find the one that works for you. Most of them offer free trials, so I've used a lot through the free trials and always default back to the free stuff because I don't want to pay for any more things than necessary.
Well, for sure. And I mean, especially if you're going to run your own business, so you look at the cost of everything now. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, it can be very costly if you're not paying attention to it. Actually,
Exactly.
I think people, speaking of that, a little tidbit is, because there's so much of that, it's like you should have your own little spreadsheet of everything that you purchase.
Yeah.
And then you see how much you're spending on all these little things, right?
Because
Like,
they do add up, and there's so
they
many
add
of them.
up. Yeah, before you knew it, it's hundreds of dollars a month. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I get
So
it.
the next one I wanted to talk about is comes to video editing. So I know you can do video editing in the platforms like within TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. Facebook MetaSuite has a real creator and video editor. I'm not fond of it. I don't like using it. But what I really like about this tool, actually, the other day I was driving and I'm like thinking about this tool and thinking, I'm like, how much I love it. And thinking, I'm like, oh, I'm so happy. And I'm like, I should talk about I'm like, for all the tools, if only I had one, it would be this one. And it's called Descript. And it's
The script,
DES,
the script, or D
no,
script.
Descript. So DESCRIPT.
You know,
And
I'm right. Googling this, right?
yeah, and what this one does is it's a video editor for people who are not familiar with editing videos. So
Oh,
instead of typical video editors, you'd upload into your platform and then you have a timeline and you would edit your video by going through the timeline, checking the audio and the doing cuts and ads and whatever. With this one, it actually you upload your video and it transcribes the entire video for you. And then when you want to cut something out, you would delete the word and it deletes the corresponding video. If you're, let's say you're creating longer form video, we do it too with our podcast. Like we record the podcast, but then I'll put it in Descript and I'll pull out a little clip that I think would work really nicely for social. But how do I do that? I like select the paragraph and I add, and then, you just insert into a new composition and voila. And then you can
Wow.
it's so easy to use. There's a lot of how-to videos to use it on YouTube too. You can just go in and put in how to use Descript. And there's a free one. You can
Yeah.
pay, but there's free. Of course, I pay for it because I use it incessantly. But the
Right.
free one is like an hour of video content a month. Oh, and the best part about this is it takes out all the filler words for you. So you say, by the push of a button.
Wow. And it's so funny because I know our listeners can't see us right now, but like your eyes are just lit right up. This so excites you.
Love this one. It does.
It's actually
I
so
love
cool.
AI tools.
Yeah, I've been Googling what you've been saying. It's like, it's so cool. It's so interesting. And that's what we need, right? Is all the help that we can get. It saves time. It's still going to be professional. It's going to be still you if you know how to use these tools to your benefit,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, they're your sidekick. And I
Yeah.
think that I'll put like all the links
Oh,
and the
good.
stuff we talked about in the description because sometimes it's hard to remember them. There's another one that you can use. It's called OpusClip. This one, you actually can just put a link to a YouTube video in it, and it will cut clips for social media for you. So it'll cut vertical clips from a YouTube video. You don't need to be an owner of said video. So if you, I don't know, if you've watched like a demo that you really liked or something like that, you can put it in there and you can create, it does it for you. It pulls out the most important things, but it also gives you an option to edit it afterwards if you want to remove some of the words or whatever. And it also provides you the captions within the platform, and it's free to up to a certain amount of credits too. So you
Of
get
course,
certain
right.
hours or whatever. So
Wow, that's great. That's amazing. And I think too that for how much people are going to use that content for, it's probably the best way is to try out the different things for free. And then if you feel, oh, this is the one and you want to invest in it, that makes sense completely, right? Because now you know you're going to use it. It's working at your benefit. It's going to save you time. And that's the big part of this too, is because, everyone's kind of, you are all one. You're doing the service and the marketing and your HR and your health and safety and your and. How many hats does one wear? Yeah.
exactly.
I
Exactly.
wish I had this back when I had my business. I can tell you that much. Gosh, that would have saved me
Seriously.
some time, right?
Well, if we would have we're all be pros by now. But it's good. It's good to get in on it because it is everywhere. And I think you were saying today that even with us using Zoom, like now there's some kind of AI function within Zoom.
I was
So
just like,
everything is getting an AI function with it. I also looked the other day because I was setting up my Gmail, and there is a way that you can add like ChatGPT app to your email to help create your emails as well. So there is so many out there and I'm still kind of exploring it, but I wanted to just bring these few out because I think in terms of
mhm,
how helpful they've been for my day to day, these are the tools that I use all the time. Another one that I think is really helpful when you're creating content, it's not really AI, but I'm going to throw it in here anyways, because why not? But it's called CapCut. And it helps. So you can just put your video in there. It's like templates for videos, for reels, and they're super cool and very professional looking, very, very snazzy. And it's literally takes you just kind of swapping out the video they have with the video you have. You can
mhm,
customize it a little bit, but it's something that saved me a ton of time when I'm creating content as well.
great. Wow. It's so cool. It's so amazing. I am thinking back, like, gosh, this would have helped me so much because I did not have the time and sitting down and really going through, yeah, from newsletters to, oh my gosh, everything.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
pretty exciting. And I have to say, like, for me in social media, I don't put my whole world, my life out there. It's just that's not who I am as a person, right? But I do understand it needs to happen when, especially you're promoting a business and you are the business, you're the product, like you're the feature, right? And you have to put it out there. And I get that. And this might be a great way to help get you going, get your brain juices flowing and just to get going so that you're, I mean, you and I have talked about this before. I shouldn't be laughing, but some of the content sometimes we see, it's like, what are they doing? It's hindering their profession. And some of it's done on purpose because it's another way to make it,
Yeah.
popular. I get it. But some of it's not. Some of it is what they're actually putting out there and they don't know why they're not getting the business. And I'm not a professional marketing person, social media and that at all. So when they ask questions, it's like, maybe you should hire someone to help you with this because there's a certain way to do these things on social media based on the profession you're in as well. But this could be the tool for them and they don't have to hire someone, right? To at least get them going. And if they still don't get it, then, spend a year saving up some money because, me with an hour with you would have saved me so much time and I would have paid dearly for that, So I understand where this could all be very beneficial and get people going on it to help. So thank you
Absolutely.
for bringing this one up. This one's actually oddly exciting.
It is. It's my favorite topic. And I think you're right about the cost because it's costly. And I think we all try to go on and figure it out for ourselves. But the problem is there's so much information. There's so many ways that you can do it. So it's hard to know where to start. So I think that in offering this, it was a gift to me when I came across it. And it's like a gift back. Like this is a starting point. If
Yeah.
you like one, then so let's say ChatGPT. If you want to use that one, then go on YouTube and Google it, like not Google, go on YouTube and search for some videos on the best prompts for ChatGPT or whatever.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that way, now you've just honed in on one and use
Mhm.
that. Or do SocialBee or the Descript, whatever it is, whichever
Mhm.
one you choose. But if it gives you a focus, right? So now I have one. Now I know what I can search for help on
Mhm.
how to use it. Versus if you say, well, how do I use AI? Oh, the
Oh
information you're
gosh.
gonna get. You didn't
Yeah.
know where to start.
Exactly. No, I'm so glad you brought this forward as a starting point resource to help people kind of narrow down. Then you can explore more. I think it's a great way to just kind of get the understanding behind it, try it out, see how it works. And like you said, then you knew which one you would invest into that worked for you. And I think that's really important that we just don't jump on the bandwagon of it all, right? It's really understanding, even though I think today we do a lot of that.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the best thing about the free trials. I would suggest this go through as many as you can, trying the free trials because you're going to find one that just fits with you. And then it works for what you want it to. Because some of, like, I mean, I touched on some basic things that they do, but with
Mhm.
each one, you can do a lot more.
Right.
So it just depends on your needs and how you envision yourself using it in the future.
And
And I think,
another thing, so I was going to mention really quick because you brought up YouTube. I love it for that because you could be specific to that program of how to use, and they'll actually do some little trainings on it. So you can actually go, oh, I really kind of like this one. What else can I do? Then you can search it and start learning. And is that the time consuming? Yes, but that's an investment into yourself that you're doing for your business. And I think it's huge. Then you know what more you can do with it. So, but it does take time and you just got to filter that time. And maybe that's your goal for the month is to learn this and how you can up the ante in your social media presence. And this is a great way. I think it's
yeah,
wonderful that you brought this up and said, I have a topic that I want to talk about and how it saved me. And I loved it.
yeah. Meet my friends.
Meet my friends. Oh, great. We
when
got
I
to get,
stop when I stop leaving the house, just come get me.
we'll be like, hello, come to the human side.
And I think like, if we always do this, but we ask, input, like if there's something you're like, oh, it would be great if I could find something to help me with this, let us know. Or if you've heard of
Yes.
something and you're curious about it, let us know. I'm continually exploring new AI tools for my work, but also because I'm just kind of really into it at this time. So when I have another batch of really cool things, we'll do another episode about it. But
Mhm.
this one's a short and sweet one where we just like get the information out there and reach out if you have questions.
Yeah. And speaking of that, what we've done now is that we're attaching a form with these now, right? That they can go
That's
to, and you can just quickly click on it, give us the question or information, and send it in. Like I said, we've been doing this for you, our listeners in this industry, and we're here to help and work together. So we look forward to hearing what your topics and questions are. And then the fun part is bringing it out live and saying, okay, we had a question from Suzanne from Ottawa or whatever it is. And I think that's a huge part for people to know that everyone's together. I mean, yes,
exactly.
we're all in competition, but at the same time, guys, we got to do this together to make it work. There's lots of room for everybody.
Exactly. I love it.
All right.
Okay. Well,
Doreen, that was such a good topic. Like she said, we said, please would love to hear your thoughts and your comments on it. And remember to like.
subscribe, follow, like us.
Yes, all of the above. All right. Well, have
Love
a
it.
great day, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Beauty Babble.